Today's class is all about back bends, and we want to be really warm when we do back bends, so we're going to start with breath of fire to get the blood flowing in our body. We will do 3 rounds of breath of fire. Inhale through your nose to a count of 4. Exhale out your nose to a count of 4. Then you'll inhale halfway, filling up your lungs. Use your belly to push the air out through your nose in 20 quick, sharp bursts. It sounds like... Go ahead and close your eyes and we'll begin. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale halfway and burst it out, 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 out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Recover, inhale. Exhale. Inhale halfway and exhale, 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 out, 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 out. Push the air. Relax your face. Keep going. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Recover, inhale. Exhale. Inhale halfway and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Recover. Inhale and exhale. Now that we've got the blood flowing, let's add some movement. Start by circling the ribs over to the left and then behind and to the right. Forward, side, back, and around. One more. Forward, side, back, and around. Come back to center and change direction. Circle the ribs the opposite way. Forward, side, and back. Really pressing the ribs forward as you come to the front. And then tucking the pelvis and rounding the back. And return to center. Twist and place your left hand onto your right knee. Tense your fingertips behind you, lengthen the spine, and look back over your back shoulder. Finding a big rotation through the spine, allowing it to warm up. Return to neutral, other side, right hand to the left knee. Tent the opposite fingers on the floor behind you and look back over your back shoulder. Finding that rotation through your whole spine, and then return to center. Fingertips tent behind you, squeeze your shoulder blades together, lift your sternum to the ceiling, look up. Big opening through your chest, rolling the heads of the shoulders open and back. Lift the head and return to center. Inhale, sweep the arms over your head. Grab the left wrist with your right hand and stretch over to the right, looking underneath your armpit. Inhale, back to center, switch sides. Exhale, fold over to the left. Inhale, back to center, stretch up tall, really lengthening the spine. Imagine that you're pulling your shoulder sockets out of socket. Switch your grip to the opposite hand and reach, 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 reach. Lengthen through the whole spine, trying to get taller. Release the arms down. Drop your right ear to your right shoulder, then up and over to the left. Up and over to the right. And then up and over to the left once more, stretching out your neck. Come back to center. Inhale, sweep the arms over your head. Exhale, right hand goes down, left hand reaches over. Curl your body down to the floor and then lift it up and open the chest behind you. Curl it down, open and stretch back. Curl it down, open and stretch it back. Rotate to the floor, then open and twist. Curl and look down, open and twist, stay there. And then do just little kind of half circles behind you, opening up the chest, allowing your arm to be heavy. And just swing a little side to side, almost like making a half moon shape. Then open the chest even more. Reach back over to the side and inhale, lift back up. Other side, exhale. Right arm goes over to the left and then curl down to the floor and twist and open. Rotate to the floor. twist and open. Exhale down. Inhale, open. Exhale, rotate down. Inhale, open out. Exhale. Inhale. Hold it there. That half moon drawing with your fingers, really reaching back, playing with opening through your chest and your shoulder joint. Opening even more as you pull the hand behind you, then reach it up and over to a side stretch. And then inhale all the way back up to a seated position. Start to roll out the shoulders back behind you, up to the ears, and rotate back and around. Change directions, rotate them front and around, working through any tightness in your scapula. Maybe there's some crunching or rolling. See if you can get that out. For this next stretch, we'll place the right hand behind our backs onto our spine. You'll rotate your shoulder inward and then see if you can grab a hold of your elbow and pull it in towards you. So now we're working on inward rotation of the shoulder joint. This is not an area that we hit a lot, so this could be really hard. You might not be able to even grab your elbow. It's a little easier if you start up higher on your arm and then walk your hand down towards your elbow. If you can't get your elbow right away, try that method. And if not, just really turn in your shoulder as much as you can, pointing the elbow forward. And then release, and we'll change sides. Front side of your fingers go onto your spine, rotate your shoulder in, grab hold of your arm and walk it down to your elbow, or if you can, just grab your elbow, turn it in, really rotating the elbow forward, keeping the fingers on the spine, and working that shoulder and that elbow more in towards your center line. Getting a nice stretch through the rotator cuff in the inward rotation of the shoulder joint rather than the outward rotation. We want to stretch both inward and outward rotation because that shoulder joint does have a full 360-degree rotation, and the more opening we can get in each of those areas, the more flexible our shoulders will be. Go ahead and release that and come back to a seated position. Again, let's roll those shoulders out, just back and around. One more time, just working out any little knots we might have between the shoulder blades. And then change directions, roll them forward, really lift them to the ears, and then release them down and away. And return to neutral. Cross your right arm across your chest. Take your opposite arm and pull it in towards you, and then drop your right shoulder away from your ear. The more you can get that arm in towards your body and the shoulder down, the more of a stretch you'll feel. Now lean over to the left, let your head fall over to the left and side stretch through the side of your body. Your QLs or your quadratus lumborum that run up the sides of your body, they can get really tight, and that limits our back bending ability. Come back up and let's change sides. Cross the left, pull it in towards you, drop the left shoulder down, pulling the arm across, taking this nice stretch for our arm and our shoulder joint, and then fold over to the right, allowing your head to droop down and to get some of that stretch going into the side body, into the QL. And then lift yourself back up and release the arms out. I'm going to turn around again so you can see this better. And we'll do another stretch for our shoulders. Your right hand will go behind your back. Your palm will face out. You'll slide the arm up as high as you can up your back, and then you may have to wiggle and adjust to try to grab your elbow with your opposite hand and pull the elbow in towards your center line. And then again, try to pull your hand in towards your center line. Now this is really hard for me. I have naturally tight shoulders, so any of these like cow face stretches are some of the most difficult stretches for me. So I'm not the greatest example of this, but you want to slide the hand in as close as you can to your midline. So it might like lay on top of your spine rather than out towards your shoulder joint. But you just do the best you can, like we all do. It's always a process and a journey. And then release, let's go the other side. Left hand swipes behind the back. Reach and wiggle to grab the elbow, and then try to slide that hand into the midline of the body. So as much as you can, it's almost as if you could imagine that the elbow and the hand are actually in a straight line on top of each other. That's a really great place to be. Your shoulders will be really open and really stretched if you could make that happen. If you can't, you are in good company. There's lots of people who are still working on this. There's nothing wrong with it. Just need some extra love in this area. And then release it down. Wiggle the shoulders out to relax and release. And then plant your hands behind you. Squeeze your shoulder blades, lift your sternum, look up. Exhale, curl and round them out. Inhale, lift the chest, look up. Exhale, tuck your head to your chest and round your upper back. Inhale, open, look up, expand the chest. Exhale, contract through the chest, separate the shoulder blades as you round. Inhale, lift and look up. Exhale, round and curl. Return to neutral. I'll turn back around and we'll move on to the next portion of class. Come onto your hands and knees and we'll take a circular cat-cow, really waking up and involving the spine. Your belly will go down, and then as you round, you'll lift and circle it around. So instead of just doing a normal cat-cow, see if you can take it and make your ribs and your spine move in a circle. You'll still have the cow where your head and tail are coming together, and then still have the cat where you're rounding through the spine. And try it now going the opposite direction, rolling up, dropping the ribs down and circling them as you do this. A little bit of coordination is involved. It's okay if it's not really smooth right now, but let's try to wake up that spine and all the little muscles in between. Now come into a normal cat and cow without the rotation of the spine. Inhale, head and tail lift up and towards each other. Exhale, tuck the chin to the chest and round the back. Inhale, lift, look up. Exhale, tuck and round it out. Return to neutral. Walk the hands in front of you. You might have to slide your knees back slightly as well. Engage your center so you're pulling your ribs in, and then lay your forehead down onto the mat. Your triceps on the back of your arm should be rotated down to the floor, and your shoulders are rotating inward. So you're really working the shoulder joint here, and closing the ribs is going to put a lot more opening in the shoulder. So you want to reach the head down, push the chest down, but keep your belly and your spine engaged. So they're pulling up and in, trying to round through the middle and lower back, but press the chest down to the floor. Kind of feels like an oxymoron there, but that's what we want to do. We'll set up the next stretch from this same stretch. Your right hand will roll open. So you'll roll to the pinky side of your hand to open your palm up towards the ceiling. You'll twist and look underneath your left shoulder, really pulling the ribs in. And looking under as you flip that right palm to the ceiling. It should be stretching through the side and through the lats on the right side of your body. And then you'll want to roll your palm back flat and change sides. Open the left hand, roll the palm to the ceiling. Look underneath your right armpit, pull your ribs in. And take that big stretch through your lats on the left side. Big breaths. And roll back onto both palms. Stay there, but now tense your fingertips, so it's going to put a little more weight into your shoulders. Keep pulling the ribs in and sending the chest down to the floor. If you can go onto those fingertips, do that and really press and try to straighten the arms. If the fingertips is too intense, you can always just stay on the flat palm. Just about finished with these stretches. And then look up and slowly walk your hands back underneath you till you're up onto all fours again. Moving into an elevated puppy pose, we will grab one block, place it on level 2. Again, tuck the ribs in, round the spine, drop your head down between your arms, and try to sink your head down to the floor. We've got hang here because our hands are propped up on the block, and it's giving us more gravity to help stretch the shoulders out. So really let your head be heavy and try to drop the forehead down to the mat. Adding some movement. Inhale, lift your chest, look up. Exhale, fold yourself back down. Inhale, lift and look up. Exhale, fold the chest and head back down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Inhale, up. Exhale, press down and back as your head goes between your arms. Inhale, lift to come up, and then you'll move your block up a level. If that was really intense, you're welcome to stay at that first level, or you can come up and do the same thing. Inhale, lift and look up. Exhale, slide the head between the arms as you drop it down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, drop. Inhale, lift, look forward. Exhale, sink and drop it down. Inhale, lift, look up. Exhale, look down, fold. Hold it there. Again, really trying to pull the ribs in, sink the chest down, and let the head be as heavy as possible. Big stretch here through the shoulders. Make sure it's not into your lower back because you're pulling those ribs in. Inhale, lift yourself up. You can walk your knees in. Keep the block with you, but make your way down onto your seat. You can cross your legs underneath you or sit onto your hip and swing them around. Either way is fine. And we'll move into some passive stretches. Take the block, place it on level 2, right underneath your bra line, kind of above your floating rib. And you'll lay yourself over the block. Your head will go back to touch the floor. If it doesn't touch the floor, you could put a pillow underneath your head, or you could even put another block on level 1 under your head. Your feet will come together in a butterfly and open your hips out. And your hands can be down by the sides of your body. If you wanted more opening, you could even lift them up over your head and have them in a W or a cactus shape, or try to get them fully extended. So you get some more chest and shoulder opening if your arms are elevated in some way. I'm in the W right now. You're welcome to take that or leave them down and really focus on opening the chest and the thoracic spine. Now I'm going to close my hands and my elbows together. My hands will come in prayer, and I'll just let them drape back over my head in this prayer position. Really thinking about sending my elbows over my head and back down towards the floor, so I can get a little more opening through my shoulder joints. But again, if that's too intense, you can stay in a cactus pose. And for a little more opening, you'll take hold of opposite elbow so your hands are kind of making a square shape, and you'll drop your elbows down towards the floor. So really open up through your shoulders and through your thoracic spine. But it can be really intense. So maybe you can't hold it this long, or maybe you have to modify and do the prayer hands or the cactus arms. Either of those are totally fine and acceptable, and they will work to open you up even if your arms aren't extended overhead. It's really important to practice your deep breathing in back bends, even though it's going to be a lot more shallow than normal. Because your back is arched and your ribs are expanded, your lungs will be expanded, and so it's harder to breathe deep. So your breathing will be more shallow, but it's important that you keep breathing. To come out of this, move your hands down, take a hold of the back of your legs, tuck your chin into your chest. You can push down into the floor with your elbows and use your core to lift yourself back up onto your seat. And then make your way back onto all fours. And then lower yourself down all the way so you're flat on the mat. Tent your fingertips to the side, then lift your head up. Squeeze your shoulder blades together, and then lower down starting from the low body all the way out to the top of the head. Begin with the upper body, head lifts, roll up. Then your belly goes down, your ribs go down, your chest goes down, and then your head. Inhale, reverse. Head goes up, then arch through the spine, lower down. Lift up, roll down through the spine. Try not to push into your hands. Try to make your back do most of the work as you lift up, and then lower piece by piece all the way back down. I have to move some props out of the way here, but extend your arms out to the sides of your body. Lift your left leg up and rotate it so it taps the floor behind you. And take a stretch for your pecs on the front side of your right arm. If having your arm straight is not doing anything for you, you can go ahead and bend that right arm into a 90-degree angle and push down with your left hand to twist the chest more open to the ceiling, and you should be able to feel more of a pectoral stretch with a bent arm than with the straight arm. And if your foot doesn't actually touch the floor behind you, that's okay too. As long as you're finding that twist and rotation, then you should be able to open up the front side of the body. And now roll back onto your belly, switch sides, extend the left arm, lift the right leg, reach it up and back behind you to take the twist. And again, you can leave your back arm straight, or you can bend it to a 90-degree angle and push into the floor with your front arm to twist your chest more open towards the ceiling. And really stretch out the front part of your shoulder or your chest, your pectoral muscles on your left side. Keep twisting and looking up. Back bends are about a lot of opening through the front of the body. So that includes your chest, your hamstrings, and your hip flexors. And then you need to have a strong back to be able to support the back bend. So we're working on opening these areas so that we can be nice and ready for the full wheel pose that we're going to take later in class. And then roll yourself back onto your belly. Your elbows will come down onto the mat just a little in front or in line with your shoulders. Hands stay parallel to each other. Push down through your elbows and pull your hands back towards your body as you send your chest forward, and you'll just keep your head looking forward in front of you for now. See if you can really open your upper back, and then slowly release yourself back down. Bend your right leg, reach back and take a hold of it with your right hand, and pull your heel in towards your glute. The more you can pull it into your glute, the more you'll feel the stretch on the front side of your body into your quad and your hip flexor. See if you can get the heel to touch your glute, or you can even keep pushing it down onto the outside of your leg towards your hip. And that will get a really deep stretch through the quad. Now release the foot and change sides. Bend the left leg, reach back and take a hold of it with the left hand, and pull the heel in towards the glute, squeezing it in or sending it to the outside of the leg towards the hip. You can even rotate your palm forward and your fingertips forward, bend the elbow to get a deeper stretch too. Pushing down on the toes with the palm of your hand. Now bend the right leg and take a hold of both your legs with your hands and squeeze them in towards your glutes or out towards the sides of the body, the hips. Whichever you can make it happen today. Then release everything. Plant your palms and then lift so you can come and place your elbows back down onto the floor and find your Sphinx pose once again. Tucking the tailbone to protect the lower back and then pulling the shoulder blades together to send your heart forward. Pull back with the elbows. Now push up just enough that you can slide a block underneath your belly button on your low belly. Push your hands into the mat, squeeze your shoulder blades together and send your heart forward. Keep tucking the tailbone and trying to make most of the bending happen in your upper back. Keep opening through that upper back. Bend your right leg, take a hold of it with your right hand and pull it in towards your glute. If you want, you can turn your fingertips forward and point your elbow back, or you can just hold on and try to pull it as close as you can. If this is too intense, you can drop down onto the elbow of your front arm that's holding you up, and then you won't be so arched. And then release, push back into your seal pose and change sides. The left leg bends, take a hold of it, pull it in towards you. Oh, don't lose your grip like I did. Turn the elbow back and the fingers forward if you'd like. And even try even more to open your shoulders and don't allow your chest to slump. Really reach it forward and open the shoulder heads away from the center line of your body. Making the upper back do lots of opening and work. You can lean a little forward now to take a hold of both of your feet with your hands, reaching your hands to the outside of the foot and wrapping them around, and then pushing with your legs to lift your upper body up into a bow pose. Keep pulling up as much as you can. If you'd like to change the grip, you can also slide your hands onto the inside of the foot, kind of wrapping around the big toe knuckle. And same thing, push into the feet to lift the chest up. See how much bending you can do through your upper back. You can keep your head forward, or you could even look up and back if that feels safe. Then release your feet, engage your belly button to push yourself back up onto your heels. Interlace your fingers behind your back. Send them over your head as you bow forward and place your head on the floor or on a mat. And keep reaching your arms over your head as much as you can. Now turn your head to the right and send your arms over to the left and twist. Come back to center, other side, look to the left, send your arms to the right. And back to center one more time, reaching the arms as forward as you can towards the mat in front of you. And then arms go down and lift yourself back up. Come onto your hands and your knees and just take a little side-to-side shift with your hips to release them out. Pushing over to the right and then pushing over to the left. And we'll continue to work on that front body opening. Step your right foot forward. Make sure that your back knee cap is not being put all the weight on, but that it's back behind you. And you'll come into this hip blaster stretch, really trying to lengthen your hip flexors on your left leg so that back leg should have a nice straight line and no crease in your hip flexor. Really trying to reach the chest up and send the hips down by tucking the tailbone under. Now tuck your back toe and extend your back leg. Try to make it straight. Push your back heel towards the wall behind you and separate your legs wide apart as you sink down through your hips and your thighs. Almost like you're taffy, kind of pulling the legs apart. Now begin to rock your weight, shifting it forward and back. Forward and back. We're just shifting your weight more into your hands and then back towards your back leg. Keep working to extend the back leg and tuck the tailbone under. Shifting forward and back, forward and back. And then come back to your center. Hold it there. Drop the back knee down to the mat once again. Bend your back leg, reach around with your right arm and see if you can take a hold of your left foot. So you're in a twist, opposite arm holding leg. If that's not happening, use your strap. Wrap your strap in a loop around your foot and then slide your hands as far away from your foot as you need to on the strap. And then again, we'll pull the heel in and release it back into a slight arch. Pull the heel in, open and arch. Squeeze it forward and down, open and back. Squeeze to the glute, open and release. Squeeze and stretch it back. Squeeze it in, hold it to the glute as much as you can, finding that rotation through the spine as well. If your back knee is really sensitive, you can roll up your mat or put a pillow on your back knee. Now see if you can sit yourself up so you're on your back leg, it's bent, 90-degree angle on your front leg, and squeeze your foot into your glute. Slide your hands down to your ankle as you sink forward with your right leg. Keep reaching the back foot down towards the floor. Your back will arch, and see if you can carefully place your foot on the floor And then really arch the spine to come into this stretch. You could even drop your head back if holding it up like this is not going to work out. Then release the foot, engage your belly to come back to your hip blaster stretch. Stack yourself on top. Lift the rib cage up and away from your lower body. So the ribs are moving up away from the hips. Your chest is going to the ceiling. Your hands are go to prayer. And then if you can, keep sinking down as you lift your arms up overhead and try to point your fingers back behind you to that back wall. Keep sinking down through the back hip and making the hip do the bend rather than thinking about bending so much in the lower back. Come back to center. Plant the hands down. Stretch one more second in your hip blaster and then slowly push the weight back. Square the hips off and then open the hip to the side. Just kind of wiggle out your hips, opening and then squaring them off. And then move back so you're on all fours once again. Step the left leg forward, wiggle it forward as much as you need to come into your hip blaster stretch. Make sure your weight isn't right over your back kneecap. And then you're really trying to tuck the tailbone and send your right hip flexor forward. So there's lots of length through the front hip flexor. And then try to open the chest, roll the shoulders open and away from the ears. As you sink down, opening up in between your legs here. Tuck your back toes, extend your back leg. Find that low runner's lunge position. Lengthen the back knee as much as you can. You can also put your hands on blocks for these stretches if it feels like this is too deep for you. And then begin to shift and rock your weight forward and backward. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Come back to neutral. Keep sinking down until you drop your knee all the way down to the mat. Bend your right leg, reach back and take a hold of it with your left hand. Find that twist. Or if you can't get it with your hand, you can always use the strap. Pull the foot in and then release it out. Into the glute. Open the chest, arch back slightly. Pull it in. Push back and open. If you send the foot back, the chest will naturally open as it goes back. Squeeze it in, open and arch. And then one big squeeze where we hold it in. Again, your weight should be forward in front of your kneecap, not right on top of it for this pose. Now stack yourself up. See if you can take a hold of your back foot with both hands. Keep your hips square. Keep trying to tuck the tailbone. Tuck, tuck, tuck. That's going to get into your hip flexors a lot more. Slide your hands down to your ankle. Reach forward. Keep tucking the pelvis under as you continue to sink through your legs and reach your back foot to the floor. You might clunk down at some point. That's okay. Just do your best. Now send your heart and your chest up to the ceiling. Keep pushing your hips under. From the back of the body's tailbone goes under so you can stretch your quads and your hip flexors. Engage the belly to lift yourself back up and plant your hands down on the floor. Walk your hands up on top of your left knee. Keep tucking the tailbone as you sink down. Hands come to the heart. Keep pulling the belly button in, lifting through the front body. Pull the ribs up away from the hip bones. Extend the arms overhead and open your upper back. Try to bend from that upper back and from pushing into the hip flexor and not dumping into your spine. So squeezing through the shoulder blades, then come back to center, hands in prayer. Look forward, slowly place your hands down. And then you can push back and play with straightening the leg and then opening and closing the hip, turning it open and then squaring it off just to release out a little bit through your hips. And step that front leg back. And so you're on all fours, and you can do a little bit of shake side to side, a little wiggle. Release it out. Now walk your hands forward. We'll come into a full puppy pose, dropping the chest down to the floor, setting the hips high. Your lower back will arch here. If you can, you'll place your chin onto the floor, or even better, you can lift your chin off the floor and keep reaching your head back to your tailbone. If that is too intense to put your chin on the floor, just place your forehead on the floor. Keep engaging your front body, but sending the chest down, trying to get the armpits to the floor. And the more you can lift your head up and back, the better opening you're going to get. Hips stay high, chest stays low, head stays up and back if possible. Slowly engage your core, tuck your tailbone, and walk your hands up to move out of this pose. Always mindfully. Then tuck the toes, lift the hips, find your down dog. Down dog, bend your knees. And then sit over your heels. Reach your right arm behind you as you stretch your left arm, push your hips forward, find a small little back bend. Sink the hips back down, sweep your arm over and across to the other side and push the hips forward as you arch your back. And again, sit back down, sweep the left arm over to the right, stretch, pushing your hips forward. Sit back down, sweep the right arm up and over to the left, arch your back as you press forward with your hips. Sit back on your heels, then reach your hands forward to come back into your tabletop. And from tabletop, just make your way onto your bum. You can cross your legs and sit down or swing the legs around. And then roll all the way flat onto your back. So your lower back goes all the way flat to the mat. You'll walk your feet in as close as you can to your bum. Tuck your pelvis and press your hips up into a bridge pose. From here, drop your hips down just a little and then press them back up. 4 more. Drop and press. Lower the hips slightly, then push them up as high as you can. Lower and push and drop and push, extend them up. Stay with your hips extended. Reach your hands behind you, plant your palms on the floor with your fingers towards your feet, elbows hug together. Push with your arms just enough to place the top of your head on the floor. Then continue to send your knees forward until they touch the floor in front of you. Your arms will extend straight behind you, interlacing your fingers and pointing your index fingers to the wall behind you. So you should have this nice arch through the spine. This is a modified wheel pose. It's really starting to open up your front body into your quads, your hip flexors, your stomach muscles, your chest, and your shoulders. So that whole front of your body is getting a nice opening here, which is going to prepare us for the full wheel pose, which we'll try in just a second. Bend your arms and place them back down on the mat just so that you can lift your head enough to roll onto your back and release out of this pose. Plant your feet down by your hips again, right underneath your sit bones. Tuck the tailbone and press your hips up back to the bridge. Wiggle your shoulder blades underneath you. Same thing with your arms. You'll plant your hands down on the floor with your palms flat and your fingers toward your feet. Hug your elbows in. Push enough with your arms that you can lift and place the top of your head onto the floor. From there, if you feel like you want to go more, try to push with your arms and straighten them to push up into a full wheel pose. If you can get to a full wheel, then bend your arms and then press back up. So just lower and press. As you press up, try to press with your heels as well to push your chest more in front of you so that your shoulders are pushing over your wrists and your weight is going more into your upper body rather than your lower body. Then try to hold it up, really pressing your hips up, pushing your weight forward and extending through your shoulders and your chest and your upper back. If you want to go deeper, you can walk your hands back towards your feet. Continue to press the hips high and push your weight forward. When you're ready to come down, bend your elbows, come onto the back of your head, not the top, to roll down flat back. We will do this same full wheel pose again. You take whatever level of modification you like or try the whole thing. Starting in bridge, pushing the hips up, planting the hands on the floor, lifting up to the top of the head, then extending the arms to come up to your full wheel pose. Pushing forward over your wrists and your hands and really extend. You can also try lifting up onto your toes or the balls of your feet and walking your feet closer to your hands. If you can't get up into a full wheel, just play with trying to push your arms as straight as possible and then release back down. Everyone come all the way down, back flat, onto the floor. Recover your breath. Let your heart rate come down. Back bends can be really tough. And then set it up one more time. You can decide what level you'd like to take it. Lift into your bridge. Plant your hands. Push into the mat to lift to the top of your head. Then you'll really have to extend the arms and press your chest back. So you're pressing your chest forward like where you're looking with your head. You can drop your gaze down to the floor for more of a stretch through your back. And then play with rocking your weight forward and then rocking it back towards your feet. Lifting the hips up. You can play with coming onto your toes, walking your hands and feet closer together. When you're ready to move out of it, just bend the elbows, tuck the head, and roll down through your spine. Allow your back to be nice and flat. Then open your legs out as wide as your mat and allow your knees to knock together. And just take some big full breaths here in this constructive rest. That can be really, really intense if you're not used to doing back bends or if your shoulders are tight. It took me a long time to be able to get up into a really rounded wheel. So don't feel bad if it didn't happen for you today. And now we're going to reset our spine and make sure that we are doing some stabilization so that we don't injure our backs. Take a hold of your knees, hugging them into your chest, and then just start to open the knees out to the side and then hug them back together. Opening out, hugging them back together. Just easy circles, guiding the hips open and closed with your hands on your knees. Allowing your lower back to be flat on the mat. And then hug your knees into your chest again. Big, big hug. And rock and roll yourself up to a seated position. Extend the legs out in front of you. Sit up nice and tall, planting your hands on the floor and pushing your hands into the floor so you sit tall. Begin to crease at your hips, sending your chest forward, pushing the back of your knees all the way straight, and slowly making your way into a forward fold. After you do the big arch, we are doing a counter stretch with a forward fold to release the back out. It can be really difficult to find a good forward fold after a back bend, so if you're not as deep as you usually are, that's perfectly normal after a back bend. If you can, you'll take a hold of your toes with both of your first two fingers, and you'll round your back, curling it in and straightening the legs. If you can't reach your toes, that's okay. Just round your spine forward over your legs. Holding it there. From your rounded back, we are going to now extend forward. Lift your head, lengthen your spine, send the chest forward. Keep lengthening and then fold yourself down as far as you can over your legs. Try to take the roundedness out of your spine by sending your chest forward, almost like there was a rod through your back that's lengthening down from your tailbone all the way out to the top of your head. And your back is this one straight line, and then you'll crease of the hips to fold the body down to the legs. So you're not rounding and trying to create space in between your body and your legs. You're trying to close that space and make it flat. Lift yourself back up. Cross your legs under you to come back onto all fours. And let's take a cat and cow. Inhale, head and tail, lift. Exhale, round them out to cat. Inhale, lift up to cow. Exhale, tuck and round to cat. Tailbone and head lift back, look up. Exhale, round and curl the head and tail towards each other. Inhale, back to a neutral spine. Shift your hips back over your heels to a child's pose. Then round your spine forward to a tabletop. Pull the hips back to a child's pose. You're going to just do some spinal undulations. Roll forward, press it back, tuck and round it forward. Then tailbone pulls back as you arch and sit back. So it's like the cat-cow, but we're adding some more motion of shifting forward and then shifting it back and sitting down. And round yourself back up to a tabletop. We'll do a little bit of work for our wrists so that when we do our core work, our wrists are warmed up and ready to go. Just begin by shifting your weight forward and backward over your hips, sending your shoulders forward and then your hips back. Shifting one way and the other. Keep the belly lifted the whole time, pushing up through your shoulder blades. Turn the fingertips out to the side and then rock your weight right and left, shifting side to side. Again, really thinking of putting the weight into the wrists to get them nice and warm and ready to go. Now turn the fingertips all the way back towards your knees and you'll rock forward and backward. The further your hands are away from your knees, the easier it will be. The closer they are, the more intense. Shifting forward and backward. As you go back, the heel of your hand may lift a little bit. That's okay. And you don't have to sit all the way back on your heels either, as long as you're getting that stretch through your forearms. Release it out. Take some circles with your wrists, rolling them out, and then change direction. Roll them out the other way. Plant your hands back down onto the mat, and we will start to do some shifting forward onto a hands and knees plank. Pull your belly up, tuck your tailbone under, and push your shoulder blades up to the ceiling, rounding through that upper back. Hold it there really strong. Try to make sure that your shoulders are over your wrists and that your knees are not right on top of your kneecaps. Your body in one line as you bend your elbows and come down to the floor. Then lift the chest, look back, up dog. Tuck your toes and press back to a down dog. Take a little breather in down dog, still trying to push your chest and your head down towards the floor. Drop down onto your knees and extend your left leg out behind you and your right arm right in line with your ear. Lift your left leg up 90 degrees. Keep pulling your belly in so that you're trying not to arch your back. And balance here. Opposite arm and leg are extended, lifting up. Lower the arm, then pull your knee, try to touch it to your nose, and then extend it back out to flat. Knee to nose, extend. Don't try to lift it up past your bum. Inhale, knee to nose. Exhale, extend it out. Inhale, knee taps nose. Extend it out. Inhale, pull the knee to the nose. Extend the leg. Hold it there. Now pulse your back leg up, 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 up. Pull your belly in. Straighten your leg, point your toe. Lift the leg up high, arch your back. As your leg lifts, your head goes back, your belly drops. Find that arch. Open the chest. Reach it back and then release the foot all the way down. And take a cat where you round the spine, pulling the head and the tail in towards each other. Return to neutral, belly stays up. Extend the right leg back onto the top of the toe. The left arm goes forward, right in line with your ear. Now lift your back leg up. Your shoulders and your hips are parallel to the floor. Hold it there, extending out. Really try to pull your belly in and round your back. Then hand goes down, knee to nose, extend it out. Knee to nose and extend. Really working your core muscles here. Knee to nose, extend. Knee taps nose, extend it back out. Knee to nose and extend, long line. Pulse it up, 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 up. Straight back leg. Pull the belly in, push up through the shoulder blades. Then allow the belly to drop, the head to go back into this cow position as you stretch the leg up and the head back, opening the shoulders as much as you can. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Lower the leg down, back to the knee, and cat round the upper back. And return to neutral. walk your hands forward to come onto a hands and knees plank. You'll tuck your tailbone under, pull your belly up, lift up through your shoulder blades and begin to lift one hand off the mat and then the other, walking out your plank, lifting and lowering, finding some shift and maintaining that alignment through your body. Then begin to walk your hands forward up to the top of the mat. When you reach the top of the mat, really push into the mat as you round your spine, tucking your head in, pushing up through your shoulder blades, engaging your core and holding it there. And then push with your hands to come back to your hands and knees plank. Push the hips up and come into a down dog, pressing your chest back towards the legs, the head down towards the floor. Drop down onto your knees. Plant your left hand in your left knee and lift your right arm up to the ceiling to come into a modified side plank, pushing your hips up and pulling your belly in. Rainbow your top arm back so that it reaches to the right wall and you're in a side stretch. Big, full, open stretch. Looking up underneath your armpit. Lift your arm back up to the ceiling and then rotate down to all fours. Same thing on the opposite side. Plant the right knee and the right hand and lift your left arm up to the ceiling. Side plank. Lifting the hips up, up, up. And now the hand goes over the head to take a big side stretch through the body, imagining creating length from your heel all the way out to the top of your hand on the left side. Lift it back overhead and then return to all fours. In your tabletop, we'll take a cat-cow. Inhale to cow, exhale to cat. Inhale, head and tail, lift and look back. Exhale, round the spine. Inhale to an arch. Exhale, round and curl. Return to your neutral position, tuck your toes and press your hips up, find your down dog. We'll up the intensity a little bit, going into full planks this time. If you need to modify and still do the hands and knees plank, you're welcome to do that. Roll through your spine, find your plank or your hands and knees plank. Holding it there, pulling the belly up, really pushing up through your shoulder blades and tucking the pelvis. Now lift your right arm up, float it up by your ear. Try not to open and twist, but keep your shoulders and your hips flat. Put the hand down, switch sides, right arm reaches up. Really work to pull the belly button in. Come back to plank and then lower all the way down, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Take a big breath, pushing open through your shoulders and your chest. Roll through your spine again to find that plank position either on your hands and feet or onto your knees. Now you'll lift your right foot off to balance. Keep tucking the pelvis under, pulling up. Set the foot down, lift the left foot up and off. It's not super high. Your hips and shoulders will still maintain that squareness to the mat. And then plant the foot down, chaturanga, exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift to up dog. Exhale, press up and back, find your down dog. Nice big breath in down dog, pulling the rib cage closed, pressing the chest open. And now drop down onto your hands and knees and sit your hips back over your heels to find your child's pose. Take a big breath here just to relax a little bit before we move on. We're almost to the cool down portion of class. We have one more core exercise to do, and then we will move into our final relaxation. Continue to breathe in child's pose, just taking a little rest. And now look up and roll back up onto your hands and knees. And make your way onto your bottom. You can cross your legs to sit down or go onto your hip and swing your legs around. And then move yourself into the middle of the mat if you've scooted off. Take your knees and wrap them with your hands. Give yourself a hug. You can rock kind of side to side to make sure you're on top of your sit bones. Then sit up really tall, lengthening the spine, not arching the spine, but making it completely straight. Extend your arms out in front of you. Start from your core. So the pelvis will start to tuck and you'll begin to lower yourself slowly down to the mat. Your pelvis and sacrum will go first, then your lower back, your middle back, your upper back. Arms extend over your head. Tuck the chin into your chest. Reach your arms forward towards your knees as you round back up to a seated position. Again, tuck the pelvis. Roll down piece by piece. Try not to do it in chunks in your back. See if you can get every vertebra to go one piece at a time. Hands overhead, tuck the chin, and then really use your front body to round and lift yourself back up. Again, roll it down, tucking the pelvis, laying the back piece by piece down. Arms extend overhead, and then tuck the chin into the chest as you lift it back up. As you roll down onto the mat, make sure that your whole back is flat on the mat because you're really engaging your front body. And as your arms extend overhead, your ribs will want to flare. Keep them pulled in so that you're always actively working your center. Again, roll yourself down to the mat. Back is flat. Stays flat as your arms lift overhead. Chin tucks to chest. Round it in to come all the way back up to a seated position. Crease to reach forward and then come up to a tall spine. Hands onto your knees. Inhale, lift the chest, look up. Exhale, round and curl the spine in. Now open your hips, and then you'll do the same thing, pressing the chest forward and then rounding back. You can cross your legs however's comfortable. Press the chest forward, inhale. Exhale, round and curl. Different type of cat-cow here. Same motion with the spine, but just sitting in a different position. And curl it back. And then back to a seated position. You can kind of wiggle out a little bit here. And we'll move into our final relaxation. Roll yourself all the way down, flat onto your mat. For this, I am going to do this in a constructive rest position, but if you want to extend your legs out and do the normal Shavasana with your palms by your sides lifted to the ceiling, you're welcome to do that as well. So for this constructive rest, your feet will go as wide as your mat, and you'll knock your knees in towards each other. Your hands will go onto your low belly so that you can feel your belly rise and fall as you breathe in and out. Whatever position that you're in, really allow your body to relax. So try not to grip any of your muscles. In fact, think about your muscles melting off of your bones, and you're just a bag of bones laying on a mat. There's no stress, there's no tightness. You are completely at ease and at peace. Your body is completely comfortable. And as your body becomes more and more relaxed and more comfortable, allow your mind to do the same thing. Let it be clear and open. Let your thoughts be in the present, not in the future or in the past, just in the here and the now. Feeling your hands rise and fall with your belly as it inhales and exhales. And just stay in this position for a few moments, finding that complete relaxation in both body and mind, and that stillness. And when it's time to come back, I'll call you back in. It's time to wake yourself back up. Begin by pulling your knees into your chest, wrapping your arms and giving them a nice hug. Slowly rock your way up, back to seated. Cross your legs, and we'll end with 5 rounds of deep breathing. Inhale to a count of 4. Exhale to a count of 4. Go ahead and close your eyes if you haven't already. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Place your right hand onto your heart, your left hand onto your belly, and repeat in your mind, may these practices bring strength and balance to my body, my mind, and my life. May these practices bring strength and balance to my body, my mind, and my life. Open your eyes, place your hands together. Thank you for joining me today, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Namaste.